The rain had already soaked the city when he turned to leave, carrying the weight of a promise he had broken long before he even met her. And behind him stood a woman who owned skyscrapers and headlines, but could not buy the one thing slipping through her fingers at night. A man with tired eyes, a folded jacket, and a heart trained to walk away before hope could make him stay. If stories about kindness, second chances, and quiet miracles matter to you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Salechua, place where gentle hearts still believe that life can change when we least expect it. He had learned how to leave without making noise. Years earlier, when the hospital corridors smelled like disinfectant and endings, he had held a newborn son, while the world collapsed into a single truth. Some people do not stay, and love does not guarantee survival. From that day on, he built his life with careful hands, stacking routines like bricks, never letting anything grow tall enough to fall and crush him. Mornings began before dawn, lunches were packed with precision, and nights ended with a small boy asleep against his chest as if that was the only place the child trusted. The dark. Work came and went, bills followed like shadows, and kindness became something he offered freely, but never accepted back. He believed gratitude was safer than hope. She entered his life quietly, not through headlines or charity galas, but through a small community center that smelled of old books and coffee. She was there because she had funded the renovation, though no one recognized her without the armor of wealth she usually wore. He was there because he volunteered on weekends, teaching math to kids whose parents worked late shifts. Their worlds touched the way to passing trains do, close enough to feel the wind, far enough to keep moving. He noticed her first as a presence, a seriousness softened by an almost fragile attentiveness. She noticed him as a calm in the room, the way he knelt to listen, the way he remembered every child's name. They spoke in the practical language of schedules and supplies, then lingered in shared silences that felt like rest. Over time, a pattern formed. Coffee cups appeared at the same hour. The rain seemed to choose their evenings. He learned she had built an empire from patience and relentless work after losing her family young, that success had hardened her schedule, but not her longing. She learned he measured his days in lunches packed and shoes tied. That love for his son was not loud but unwavering. The city watched her as a symbol of power, but in those small rooms, she was simply a woman whose hands trembled when she thought no one noticed. He watched himself soften, then retreated, tightening the rules that kept him safe. He told himself he was just being polite. He told himself he could leave any time. The challenge arrived the way it always does, without warning and with consequences. His son fell ill during a winter that would not let go, and the careful balance of his life cracked. Hospital nights returned, the same lights, the same smells, the same fear. He missed shifts, lost hours, watched savings thin. She noticed his absence before anyone else and did what she had always done when something mattered. She acted. Resources moved. Appointments opened. Help arrived without strings, without names attached. He accepted what was necessary for his child and refused the rest, because pride can feel like dignity when you have nothing else. He thanked her and withdrew, certain that kindness from someone like her came with a gravity he could not afford. But she did not ask for anything. She simply stayed near, offering stability in the smallest ways. Groceries appeared at the door without fanfare. A winter coat for a growing boy was delivered by mistake. Also, the note said. He saw the care in the details and the restraint in her distance. For the first time in years, he felt the pull of something dangerous, belonging. It frightened him enough to plan his exit. The night he chose to leave was her birthday, a fact he knew because she had mentioned it once in passing. The way people mention things they do not expect anyone to remember. The city was wrapped in rain and glass reflections. When they crossed paths at the center, the last lights flickering as volunteers packed away chairs, he had already made his decision. He would step back, reduce contact, return to the narrow road that kept his son safe and his heart intact. He told himself this was maturity, not fear. She sensed it the way people do when a door is closing, Wealth had taught her how to negotiate contracts and manage crises, but nothing had prepared her for the helplessness of watching someone choose absence. She had been alone in crowded rooms before, toasted by strangers who knew her worth but not her name. Birthdays had become reminders of success without celebration, of candles blown out in quiet penthouses where applause echoed from screens. This one felt different because for the first time, she had allowed herself to imagine a table with mismatched plates, a child laughing, a man who stayed because he wanted to, not because he needed anything from her. He turned to go, carrying the familiar ache of self-denial. When something in her posture changed, power fell away. What remained was urgency. Raw and unguarded, she did not perform. She did not persuade. She reached for the truth she had been hiding from herself and let it be seen. She needed him to know that his presence mattered beyond convenience or gratitude, that tonight was not about gifts or headlines, but about a simple human wish not to be alone. On a day meant to mark survival, the city held its breath as she stood there, rain tracing the lines of a life built on endurance. He stopped because he recognized the look. He had seen it in mirrors during the worst nights. When he begged the world to pause, he understood then that leaving was not neutral. It would leave a mark. The challenge inside him rose like a tide. Choose safety or choose risk. Choose the past or choose the possibility of something new. He thought of his son, asleep under a borrowed blanket, trusting the morning would come. He thought of how courage is taught, not by lectures, but by example. He thought of the promise he had made to live, not just survive. Things began to change, not with declarations, but with a small decision to stay. They did not fix each other. They learned how to be careful together. He learned that accepting kindness did not diminish him. She learned that love did not require control. The city remained loud, but their world grew quieter in the ways that mattered. His son recovered, then thrived, finding joy in routines that now included laughter that did not feel borrowed. She learned the rhythms of ordinary days, the luxury of being known without being admired. Challenges continued to test them, public scrutiny, the old fear of loss, the balancing act between two lives built on responsibility. Each time, they chose presence over escape. Years later, birthdays became something else entirely. Not events, but pauses. A cake baked imperfectly, candles blown out with a child's help, a hand squeezed at the right moment. She still owned buildings that pierced the sky, but her greatest wealth was a table where no one felt alone. He still guarded his heart, but not with walls, with boundaries that allowed light in. The city kept raining, as cities do, but inside there was warmth that did not flicker. Near the end of this story, if it has touched something tender in you, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Salecho. Your engagement helps stories like this reach hearts that are still waiting to believe. Before the ending, here is a special request. Please comment the word stay if you believe that choosing presence can change a life. The rain eventually stopped that night, though neither of them noticed. What mattered was not the weather, or the wealth or the fear they carried into the moment, but the decision made when it would have been easier to walk away. Some miracles are quiet. They do not arrive with music or headlines. They arrive as a choice to remain when leaving feels safer, and in that staying, lives are gently, permanently transformed.